Hi there, welcome to Prime Time. I'm Paul Orford, and today I'm back with Maria Meramveliotaki, and today we're going to tackle the huge subject of coping with failure. Now, Maria, all of us have had a failure in our life. It doesn't matter whether you're a baby who's failed to put the bottle to their mouth or something like that, all the way to, I don't know, Bill Gates not getting a deal or something like that. I don't know. But if you use that as your 0 to 100, we've all experienced it in some way. So, is there a way to draw a positive out of failure, and what mechanics should we do to get there?
Yeah. Well, of course, I mean, failures, I think, are great opportunities for learning. And actually, failure is quite a final term. I don't know what's failure, because you keep trying, okay, you maybe don't get it, but this is the very nature of our life. We have to always try, and nothing works from day one. So when a failure, let's say, happens, we can reflect on what was that caused it. Sometimes it's something we can improve in how we approached the certain thing that we failed at. Yeah. And other times it's just circumstances. So it's not just about beating ourselves all the time. Yeah. Sometimes it's circumstances. As far as concerns our approach to things, the more constructive way to do it is, what can I improve? What could I have done differently? So just reflect on these kind of questions.
It's really interesting you say that, actually, because I've never thought of it like that, like it's the end of the story, you know, because without sounding like Tony Robbins or like a LinkedIn thing, you're right, it's not the end of the story, because everything keeps going. Yeah. You know, it's not like that's it, your career's over or your relationship is over or whatever, as long as you keep fighting and keep doing what you're looking to pursue. And what was that old adage about the man? Is it the man with a light bulb or something who?
Oh yeah. You're talking about Thomas Edison. He said. I think someone asked him about failing to invent electricity, and he says, "I didn't fail. I just tried 10,000 times. It didn't work." Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's about knowing what you should improve, and about being kind to yourself, because sometimes we're not kind to ourselves. And reframing failure means that whatever happens in my life, I can use it. It doesn't really necessarily happen for a reason, I don't believe that, but I can use it for a reason, you know? So if I don't know, if I'm fired from my work, from my job, for example, I can use it to become better or find a better place that I'm appreciated, whatever, you know, went wrong in anybody's life.
Now, something which also I think a lot of people don't do, myself included sometimes, is people get the fear of failure. So that's when our old chestnut, we like to talk about procrastination. They visualize 100 different ways that it's going to end in failure, not the one of victory. You know, is there a way which you could give like a visualization technique or something psychologically to flick their switch?
Yeah. Just imagine yourself failing. Imagine the worst case scenario that could ever happen. Yeah. Okay? And then what happens after? What do you do? Okay, you failed, and then think about it. Is it the end of the world? I mean, if you really failed, what would you do after your failure? I think if you just, sometimes people tell you have to visualize only the positive. I don't believe that. I think visualizing only the positive makes you not prepared for the other case scenario. That is also possible. So if you know how to cope after a failure, if you know that I will do that and I will do that, and it happened because of this, then you're more prepared.
That's a really interesting concept. I've never thought of it, because where I've always been taught by these feel-good gurus, you know, whether it's you're instructed by someone like Tony Robbins or some mad sales guru where you've got to think positive, positive, positive. If you really think about it, stuff like ancient philosophers like Sun Tzu and stuff like that, they're saying, look, you should anticipate the worst also, then psychologically you're ready to circumnavigate that if it happens. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like, for example, if someone has an objection when you're doing sales, you've got to be ready for that, you know?
Right.
So that could be a failure in itself, because no sale goes, oh, hi, here's my product, thank you. The guy doesn't just sign straight away. There's always some resistance, which you have to be ready for. So, yeah, that's an interesting concept of the way you've put that. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because it's like if you're only thinking of the positive case scenario, you're also silencing your own inner voice that may be telling you, okay, maybe this is not going to go like that. You're silencing it, but it's still inside you. So it may be affecting you without you knowing. So it's better to talk to it, just let it express itself, and then you cope with it.
So is this going back to what you discussed with me before, the monkey in your head? You know, where like you're kind of silence in the
head. In your head, yes, that you cannot just tell it to shut up and then just only visualize positive. Yeah. You have somehow to accept it, you know. It's trying to tell you something, maybe in the wrong way, but it's still something that you can accept and deal with it. So you are more prepared, and you're prepared for the positive and prepared for the negative, if you can use this.
So in essence, what I would kind of sum it up is, if you're watching this, you've just been fired, it's not your fault, your boss is probably an idiot. So
I didn't say that.
No, okay, look, that's my words, not hers. But, you know what I mean, that's kind of, I think some people also in a lot of organisations, they do work with really ineffectual people, and when naturally a business does fold because the people at the top don't have a clue a lot of the time, the person who does get fired takes it personally. Like, for example, that the company WeWork, I don't know if you've seen that at all recently, it was an IPO, billions and billions of dollars, and it was just a complete disaster because the guy at the top was mad essentially, but he's walked away with $1.5 billion, but they've also had to fire quite a few thousand people as well because they've worked out that it's nothing. So if you're a poor person working there who's just been fired, you might take it on yourself to think, oh, what an idiot I was, you know, really self-flagellating and beating yourself. When there's no need to, it's just the guy at the top, or it's something out of your control.
Yeah, there are always things out of our control, obviously. It's not just us always. So we have to consider both possibilities. It may be something we've done. If it's like that, you can improve yourself. I mean, it's not final, as I said. If it's not, yeah, of course there are things out of your control.
No, I agree with that. I think if you could look at yourself in the mirror every day and say you're giving it 100%, you know, there's nothing else you could give, and whatever happens after that happens, you feel a lot better about yourself, you know, like you have way less anxiety, you're more in control, because I think people get all stressed when they feel like they're not in control, whether it's work, relationships, finances, or whatever. Once you kind of lose that, then you start spinning off into Pluto or something like that, you know. So how can you kind of stay in control then? Is there a way, like self-talk as well, you could do?
In control of what?
Just like, okay, forget the work aspect, because that's down to your skills essentially. Let's say, for example, when you get home from work, your boss is a bit of a weirdo, doesn't really kind of know what he's doing. And this isn't about any of our employees, they're all fantastic, you know, we're all gainfully employed. And but when you get home and you know you're in a situation where it is out of your control because the person at the top isn't that good or talented at their job, what should you do apart from looking for a new job?
Basically, your question is, if you are completely unhappy at your work because your boss is not really, I don't know, a very nice person.
Yeah, he's not very skilled or talented.
How do you deal with it? Yes. Okay, obviously you cannot affect his behavior. He is who he is. So there are many good ways to go about it. First of all, you can focus on what you like about your job rather than what you do not like. But if you know you have very frequent contact with your boss and it's like something that really wears you down, then obviously you have to make a decision. Am I staying here and I'm taking this on, or am I moving out?
You know what the best thing I think anyone could do is go back to one of the old Forex Therapist episodes called "Is My Boss a Psycho?" Watch that, go through the checklist, and then maybe the passive-aggressive one as well after that, and then see where you stand. Yeah. But it's hard with human relationships, you know, because you take a lot on yourself. Sometimes you think you're to blame, sometimes you're not. But keeps you in a job, I guess, doesn't it? Therapy and stuff. So.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Have you got anything else to add at all? Anything else to add?
No, I'm done.
Fair enough. All right, well, I think that's an absolute failure. So, all right, cool. So thanks for that. Maria, thanks for everything.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.